I am living the American dream, and anyone that thinks the American dream is dead, just look right here. You're talking to a first-generation Indian kid who's about to lead the law enforcement community of the greatest nation on God's green earth.
Cash, defender of Americans.
Citizens of America. An invigorated Federal Bureau of Investigation is hard at work, tirelessly serving our communities and protecting your freedoms. Reports are coming in from all over the country. Swatting is being used to attack media figures. Agents spring into action, collecting the data to feed to the agency's newest technology, electronic brains. Machines that are capable of calculations that exceed the greatest human minds. Laboratory staff work around the clock, completing the testing needed to feed more data to the computers. Miracle machines that convert data into answers. With teamwork and a can-do spirit, the FBI determines that the criminals are based near the docks of Washington, D.C. Braving danger, the courageous agents close in, and another criminal faces justice. Remember, citizens, your FBI stands ready and determined. Defending America, protecting you.
What is up, guys? Tyson De La Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Today is March 24th, 2025. Shout out to everybody catching this on the live. If you're catching this on the live, come on in, come on in. If you're catching this on the replay, type in replay in the comment section down below. And as always, after I'm done with this video, I'm going to place timestamps at the bottom that'll be placed in the description down below. You can jump forward, move backwards, whatever you want to do. If you want to skip a story, skip a story. But ideally, I want you to watch the whole thing. But before we get into that, make sure that you smash the like button and share, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. I really, truly appreciate you guys. Shout out to everybody in the live chat. What is up? What is up? Today is Monday. Let's go Monday. Who's got the Monday blues already? I'm already seeing in the chat, I wish it was Sunday. What is up, my mind? What is up, Steph? What is going on? Jason, Simply Serene, risking my... Oh, I don't know what happened. I have no idea what happened. Man down. Man down. What is up, everybody? Shout out to the moderators in the chat. Honestly, kudos to the moderators in the chat. Shout out to Stephanie for giving me a call off the jump and saying, yo, it's frozen. I don't know what's going on. The benefits of going live, I guess, right? So anyways, shout out to everybody that's catching this on the live. We had an explosion. An eruption. Man down. It's not cold here in Nevada. It's actually hot. It's 75 degrees out here in Nevada. Again, I want to give a huge shout out to the moderators in the chat because the moderators make this happen. So kudos to the moderators in the chat. And then kudos to everybody catching this on the live. Shout out to everybody catching this on the live. And thank you, Steph, for thanks, Steph, for keeping everything up to date. Really appreciate you. Thank you. It means a lot. Sounds good. Everybody's good. Everybody's good. Okay, we are back. We are back. Yeah. It was 87 degrees, LJ. What's up, LJ? It's like 70 or 87 degrees, he says, in Las Vegas. It's 75 in the house. I'm not about to turn on the AC. That's why I got a short sleeve shirt on and some shorts and some house slippers. We're keeping it good. What's up, Jason? Jason says you need another RAM chip. I just got a new computer. I don't know if it was the internet situation, but appreciate you guys. Stephanie says, thank you for your patience and those likes. Really appreciate it. Thank you guys for hanging in there. Really appreciate it. Man down. So anyways, today is Monday, March 24th, 2025. You guys are awesome, by the way. Thanks for hanging in there while we had some technical difficulties. All right. Hope everybody's doing amazing today. Hope everybody's doing great today. Busy day today. Also, before we jump in, I'm thinking about jumping on a live in the morning time as well. let me know in the chat. Just those of you that are in the chat right now, let me know. Thinking about 9 a.m., 8 a.m. PST, something like that. Let me know if that's going to work. Because I like doing the lives in the morning and I like doing the lives in the evening. So we'll do 2 shows. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat before we jump in. Stephanie says, I told you my mind is a manic Monday. After 9 a.m. Okay. I like that. Mornings sound good. I usually take my lunch at 11:30. 8's too early. Okay. I'm hanging in there. Hope to get the rest. Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll do it Monday through Friday. And then on Saturday I'll just drop some shorter flicks, but I like doing the lives with you guys. $11:30 EST. I like that. After 9 a.m. Okay, cool. Really appreciate you guys. Good stuff. All right. Let's jump into this real quick. All right. So I'm glad you guys cleared out your schedule to watch this evening, because we're gonna be dropping some truth bombs like a grenade at a DC cocktail circuit. All right. We're going to be talking about babies getting business loans, Kash Patel taking the keys from the FBI away from the deep state, Bernie Sanders rage quitting interviews, and a little thing called domestic terrorism being put on notice. And if you thought the swamp could not sink any lower, wait until you hear about Obama's little USAID side hustle where aid programs were used to fund global Rent-a-Riots. Can't make this stuff up, guys. We've got deportation flights to Venezuela resuming. Guess that Biden's open border policy fantasy hit a Trump-made steel wall with Pam Bondi's grit. Plus, IRS and ICE are now teaming up to kick out illegal immigrants with tax data. Imagine getting audited and getting deported in the same week. Then there's kids literally under 11 receiving $330 million of government loans under SBA. One baby reportedly got $100K before he even said his first word. The only business this kid was running was Poopin' and Screamin' LLC. Meanwhile, the University of Maine just said nope to men and women's sports to keep their federal funding, which proves once and for all woke ideology folds faster than Fauci's mask when federal dollars are on the line. And we're going to touch on John Kennedy torching the loony left Democrat Party, Bernie Sanders praising Trump's border policy, and ancient ruins beneath the Egyptian pyramids. Because why not throw another conspiracy theory in there? Bottom line is we got some stuff to get into. Let's jump into it. All right, before we jump into the main stories of today, I'm going to jump into a new segment, Snap, Crackle, Pop. Snap, Crackle, Pop. These are like stories that don't necessarily need their own little subsection. Just 2 little stories, Snap, Crackle, Pop, and Sludge. Let's jump into that.
I'm Snap. I'm Crackle. I'm Pop.
And I'm Squelch.
Just add milk to Kellogg's Rice Krispies and hear them snap, crackle, pop.
Then, before you know it, like literally immediately before you can finish eating the bowl, hear them say, Squelch.
Squelch, you guys remember that? Rice Krispies. 2 spoons in, Not even 2 spoons in. It's like eating soggy toilet paper. Like somebody soaked a big roll of toilet paper in water and put milk in it. Man, those were delicious for the first 2 spoons. So in regards to snap, crackle, and squelch, Trump doubled down on calling more secure elections. Let's jump into this. Shout out to everybody watching, by the way. Drop your comments down below and smash the like button if you kindly would.
We should go to paper ballots. We should go to one-day voting. We should go to voter ID. And just one other thing, proof of a thing called citizenship in the United States. Wouldn't that be nice? How simple does that sound? Proof of citizenship, voter ID, one-day voting, and paper ballots. You know, paper ballots are very secure. They have watermark paper. It's very intricate stuff. It's very technologically advanced, even though it's paper. And you'd have no trouble. You wouldn't have dishonest elections, and you'd have them all done by 10 o'clock in the evening. You know, France went to that, and not that I want to copy anybody, but many others have also. And they had 38 million votes, and it was all done at 10 o'clock. They had a winner, they had a loser. That was it. Nobody was complaining. And they had it backed up with paper. And it's so easy to do. The other thing, you'd save about, this would cost you about 8% of what the machines cost. So the paper would be much less expensive. So if you're looking to save some money, that's a good way to save it. So it's a shame that we've gone through it. We've gone through a bad election, really bad election. The election was so bad. And think of it. You wouldn't have had the October 7th disaster.
Imagine that, going back to paper ballots. Shout out to Jason for the super chat. Off the jump, let's go. Where's my chimes at? Where's my chimes? Yes. Shout out to Jason for the super chat. Thank you so much. What's up with Jazz and Crockett, full of crap, and her threats of violence against Elon Musk and Ted Cruz? Is she insane? She has Pam Bondi after her now. Oh, hell. Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett crap. Thank you, Jason, for the super chat. Imagine that, going back to paper ballots. We'd eliminate a lot of those machines. I know they spend a crap ton of money on those machines, but they can't get hacked. They can't get hacked. So the machines would do really nothing anymore. We would just do paper ballots. Everything would be in, and nobody can fudge elections unless they're putting CarMax on this, or what's the lip balm? The lip balm on the Scantron. But imagine that, going back to paper ballots. Next hit. Remember that person, that measles death. So this is a measles death hoax. This measles death hoax came out last week sometime. A little girl should be alive. She should be home with her mom and dad, siblings. And they were blaming it on the measles. Dr. Corey shares the disturbing information and display of journalistic integrity. CHD obtained 6-year-old medical records after her parents, from her parents. Dr. Corey, a critical care physician, had a chance to analyze the records and shared his thoughts.
This case was tragic and really had nothing, I shouldn't say nothing to do with measles, but she did not die of measles by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, she died of a pneumonia, but it gets worse than that. Because she didn't really die of the pneumonia, she died of a medical error. And that error was a completely inappropriate antibiotic. It was an insufficient antibiotic.
So according to Dr. Corey, the child did not die from the measles by any search of the imagination. In fact, she died of pneumonia. But it gets worse than that, because she didn't really die of pneumonia. She died of a medical error. Remember a couple weeks ago, they were blaming RFK for all this. So those are the snap, crackle, squash moments before we jump into this into the segments here. Let me make sure that I got everybody in chat. Yeah, it was Carmex? Yeah, Carmex. That's what it was called. Did you guys ever rub Carmex on your Scantrons during testing? What is up, Jax? What's up, Terry? LJ says, I hate Obama for creating all this chaos in my life. I need to pray for him. Absolutely. Expensive mini Vaseline. Yeah. Oh, I never voted for Obama. Chapstick. Oh, man. So we got Kash Patel. Kash Patel took the keys over from the FBI. He did his first interview over the weekend. Kash Patel. Cash. 877 call 8 cash now. Oh. Okay. Let's jump into Kash and his interview with Fox regarding taking the reins over the FBI.
Kash Patel, and he joins us now. Welcome, Director Patel. Thank you for joining us. You've been on the job for about a month now, so tell us what you've seen and what you've learned.
Well, Trey, it's great to be with you, and I wanted to stay radio silent for the first month, just to laser focus on restoring law enforcement and the credibility and the trust of the American people and getting the weaponization out of there. And in order to do that, you need a strong Department of Justice. And we have a courageous leader in Attorney General Pam Bondi and her team over there. And we have to remind the folks in the American public that the FBI reports to the Department of Justice. And the FBI does not make prosecutorial decisions. We investigate based on lawful predications anywhere the facts lead us, and we work with our partners at DOJ. So that collaboration has been absolutely brilliant to set the new foundation for the FBI that we want to see serve the American people. And that's what we've been focusing on, is restoring the trust through the chain of command and through great leaders like Pam and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and PADAC Emil Bome.
All right, Director, you've been very intentional about moving agents out of D.C. and back into the field, which is where they really ought to be. Why is that important to you?
Well, Trey, this is my first media appearance since taking the job, and I'm glad that it's on your wonderful show. And what I want to do is highlight for the American public that there's 38,000 employees at the FBI. If you take the national capital region, as the folks around Washington, D.C. call it, the 50-mile radius around Washington, D.C., we have 11,000 employees for the FBI in that 50-mile radius,
That's
give
crazy.
or take. And a third of the crime does not happen in this region. A large portion of one of my priorities, fighting violent crime, crushing narco traffickers, stopping fentanyl overdoses, is happening in any town USA across this country. And they need resources in the form not just of money, but manpower. So we're going to reorient our assets in Washington. We're going to look at it strategically, as we've been doing the last month, and send our agents and analysts and SOS operatives into the field to take on this violent crime explosion that has occurred over these last 4 or 5 years, and to make sure that every state and every county, be it in my hometown of Las Vegas, Nevada, or up in Montana or in Kansas or Iowa or Maine, is all safe and secure. And the best way to do that is through a proper show of force with the FBI men and women who do this job so courageously every day out in the streets fighting crime.
All right. That's crazy that the majority of the FBI, or a good portion, a percentage of the FBI, was located in Washington. No wonder why they weren't doing their job, right? They were just picking wedgies out of their butt and not doing much.
All right, Director, you have touched on my next question, but I want you to elaborate because I think it is central to your mission as you see it. The FBI has really broad jurisdiction. All criminal statutes are important.
What's up, Robert?
To enforce. But your emphasis sounds to me like it's going to be on violent crime.
It's definitely going to be a big emphasis. Look, Trey, you and I have been in government service before, and we overlapped in the House Intelligence Committee, where we exposed the largest corruption in FBI history during Russiagate when you and I partnered there. And that formed the foundation of my ethos going forward. We have to change to the dynamic threat landscape that is changing constantly in not just America, but abroad. Back then, CT and national security were up here, but now we see the narco traffickers and the gangs exploding in terms of violence in America, so we see that shift. And so we have to shift with that threat dynamic. We're not going to forget or ignore national security. Never. The consequential mission of the FBI is to safeguard our citizenry and our way of life and to investigate those those that do harm to our citizenry. But right now, the major portion of that focus is on sex trafficking, is on fentanyl and heroin overdoses, and is on violent crime in the form of gang murders and homicides and rapes. Every 7 minutes in this country, Trey, a individual American citizen overdoses on a drug, a narcotic. Every 6.5 minutes, a woman or child is raped. And twice an hour, an individual in this country is lost because of a homicide. That is violent crime out of control. That is a national security crisis. So we are treating it as such under this administration with President Trump's priorities and Attorney General Bondi at the helm of the Department of Justice. I don't know how or why the American public in the world refused to acknowledge this explosion in violent crime and found it acceptable for children to be dying off at such a vast rate. Couple that with the explosion in illegal aliens, we are seeing the intersection between violent crime and so many of those illegals, and that's another priority that we're facilitating and assisting with, though that's not our primary mission. That's over with DHS.
All right, Director, I want to ask you about something that I've known you a long time. You don't want to talk about, and that is yourself. But when you were nominated, I told folks that you would be a lot more fair to your critics than they ever were to you. But it's hard to forget what others have said and done. So how do you put that blindfold on and be fair even to those who were never fair to you?
Well, Trey, as I tell everybody at the FBI when I walk in the building, I don't care what the media says about me. There's nothing they can tell me that I haven't heard. As long as I'm taking the arrows and the men and women of the FBI aren't, I'm winning every single day. And
that's a leader right there.
Mentorship and
I'm going to jump to this right here.
I mean, it is a
FBI arrests 3 of 10 of the FBI's most wanted. That's a leader right there. I'm going to take arrows so the FBI doesn't have to. That's a true leader. Take the bullets. Take the bullets. I just got the chills because finally we have true leadership. We have true leadership, not coercing and slush fund gathering and all this other crap. We have a leader at the helm.
It is a really good national security team, but update us on some things, some highlights of your first month that maybe we missed.
I really appreciate this. This shows what the men and women of the FBI can do when they have leadership who are in lockstep with the national security mission of safeguarding our citizens. Just in the last 3 weeks, Trey, the FBI has arrested and brought to justice, thanks to the Department of Justice and Pam Bondi, 3 top 10 of the FBI's most wanted. Let me just say that again. Not 1, not 2, but 3 of the FBI's most wanted top 10 are now in custody because of our relationships with folks like Director
Why do they all look the same?
Ratcliffe and Secretary Hegseth and Rubio, and the list goes on. But we've also returned to justice in just 1 short week's time one of the architects of the Abbey Gate explosion that killed 13 of our service members. We did that in 1 week, flying through multiple countries and going into Pakistan and utilizing our liaison relationships and the leverage that we have, thanks to great guys like Johnny Ratcliffe, and getting a modicum of justice to the American people. And just to put that in perspective, those folks have been on the run for 4 years. And in the last 12 months before I got into this seat, Trey, do you know how many top 10 FBI's most wanted were arrested by the FBI? 0. That's the difference. Yeah. 4 weeks in, we got 3, and we're just warming up.
0 were arrested. Stephanie says, I like the mugshots. They're so different looks. Hello.
All right, you touched on something, Director, that I think is essential to reiterate. 95% of the FBI agents you would love to have as your next door neighbor. You would love to have them coaching your kids in youth sports. You would love to attend a worship service with them. I think the Bureau's reputation, we focus on the names of people who have not upheld their trust, and not the agents, the line agents who are nameless and faceless, but are doing exactly what we would want them to do.
And they are. And I want that. I want the olden days back when an FBI agent would show up at my door or a police officer and we'd welcome him in for a cup of coffee and have a conversation with them, because that's how I was raised, that to respect law enforcement. But I want the American public to know, too, we've had problems at the FBI. We are going to hold ourselves internally accountable for those meting out justice who have the privilege to serve and wear the gun and the badge or the uniform of the FBI out in the field. Where those missteps have been taken, we've already addressed that by eliminating those people from the roles of the FBI, and we will continue to vigorously uphold on a 24/7, 365 basis, as vigorously as we pursue violent crime, those that abuse or corrupt or violate their oath of office at the FBI. And I will not stand for, I will have zero tolerance for those that we will utilize our badge to harm our country. And now there's not a lot of them. We've gotten rid of some of them, but we are going to have an absolute zero tolerance level, and we are not going to be hypocrites here. If there's someone in this building or in this mission that is doing harm to the American public, then the American public is going to hear about it, be it through Congress or through prosecutions. We've got some great cases in motion already, and I look forward to coming back hopefully soon and publicizing that. There is no corner on this earth we will not chase down a violent criminal, and there is no sector of the public we will not root out corruption and make sure the American people know what has happened, because that's what they deserve.
This guy is a leader. He is a leader. Holy smokes. No wonder why his confirmation hearing took so long. They don't want this guy in. They didn't want this guy in. Now they got him and Bongino. They got the tag team. They got the tag team in. They know where the bodies are buried and who buried them. What's up, Michael? Michael in the house. Shout out to Michael. He said, I went and came back. I'm being warned to be nice. They don't like what I said about Illinois governor. Yeah, YouTube be like that sometimes. YouTube be censoring stuff. It's not me. And the moderators and myself, we don't necessarily censor stuff unless you're like crazy spamming. But Michael, I know you're not a spammer, but sometimes the YouTube, they got their prickly censors all over the place. All right, before we jump into this next situation, before we jump into this next segment, we did a giveaway last week. We did a giveaway. All you needed to do was type in giveaway in the comment section down below. I'm not sure if she's in the chat right now, but she might be watching this on the replay or whoever. We placed all the giveaway comments in a randomizer, and here is the winner for some merch. Let's jump into that. Here we go. Here's the winner of the giveaway of the merch. All you need to do is just email me at info.tysondelacruz.com, or excuse me, info.tysondelacruz@gmail.com. Again, that's info.tysondelacruz@gmail.com. Here is the winner of the giveaway. So Catherine, again, info.tysondelacruz@gmail.com. And then I'll have you give a security code. You can place it in your comment. And then we'll send out that merch for you. So congratulations. Kudos to Catherine. Kudos to Catherine. All right. Let's jump into this next one. U.S. deportation flights to Venezuela resume. Venezuela. Again, shout out to everybody in the live chat. Drop your, smash the like button if you kindly would. Thanks, Mona. Appreciate you. Oh, Stephanie dropped it in the chat, info.tysondelacruz@gmail.com. Congratulations, Catherine. Kudos to Catherine as the winner. All right, deportation flights to Venezuela resume after a week-long standoff. Deportation flights carrying 199 illegals include members of Rent-a-Riots. Gang members to Venezuela landed on Sunday. Deportation flights Venezuela resume on Sunday after a week-long standoff between Trump administration and Venezuelan government, signaling a deal had been reached between the two countries. Of course. Trump administration has vowed to strike a deal with Venezuelan government to accept flights carrying deportees from the United States, but has been limited in the transfer after the president of Venezuela halted the flights earlier this month. Only 4 flights being received to Venezuela. Let's jump into this.
If the president's use of the Alien Enemies Act is troublesome, problematic, and concerning, but the administration arguing it's more troublesome to have suspected foreign gang members here in the U.S. So how do we handle them? Former FBI special agent and Fox News contributor Nicole Parker is with us this morning. Nicole, thank you so much for being here. We had 68 Tren de Aragua gang members arrested in the last 48 hours, according to ICE. You have those some 250 alleged gang members that were put on those deportation flights. You come from a law enforcement background. How would you handle these folks? And do you think that the administration is handling this the right way?
Well, first of all, President Trump ran and campaigned on making America safe again, and he is trying to deliver on his promise. And I think the vast majority of Americans would agree that we deserve to be safe, we need to be safe, and you do whatever you have to do to make us safe again. Tren de Aragua is a designated foreign terrorist organization group. I mean, that is extremely serious. They have caused major havoc in our country: rapes, murders, assaults. We have Rachel Morin, Jocelyn Nungary, Laken Riley, multiple victims, countless victims of this violent gang. And it blows my mind that there is a U.S. District Court judge out of Washington, D.C. that is doing everything he can to resist the removal of these individuals from our country. And again, the judge came forward and said, look, maybe I'll allow the deportations to continue for those that self-identify as being a member of the gang. Do you think that individuals are really going to raise their hand and say, yes, I am a member of Tren de Aragua, please? You know, I just find that a little mind-boggling. I'm not sure that that's going to happen. But I do think that Americans deserve to be safe, and that whatever efforts need to be taken, they should be taken. But I as a former FBI agent, I don't like seeing people get hurt. I do not want this to continue. And the fact that they were ever allowed here in the first place, millions of people crossed that border illegally. They were here illegally in the first place by crossing the border, and it is time for us to uphold the law and to send them back.
We've had some reports already of individuals who were sent a part of those deportation flights. I think it's in the single digits, but some individuals that claim that they aren't members of TDA, that they were targeted just specifically because of their tattoos and sent on these flights.
What?
How do you square the threat of TDA and also people's rights here, that potentially being sent to a tough terrorist jail in El Salvador that may not belong there?
Right, that is a very tough situation, and I do think that they need to be looked at very closely. I do think that there needs to be vetting. But again, the fact that they had come across the border illegally into our country the first place, they had no problem breaking the law then. And so again, I believe that keeping Americans safe should always come first. And I believe that the Trump administration is doing everything that they can. Brian, I think it's a mighty effort, and it will virtually be impossible to find all of those that came into our country illegally and deport them. But I do appreciate the aggressive efforts that they are taking. Again, as a former FBI agent who worked violent crime in the Southern District of Florida, in Miami, safety always needs to come first.
Yeah, no Tren de Aragua member is going to raise their hand and be like, yeah, I'm part of Tren de Aragua. Take me to Venezuela, take me to El Salvador. Yeah, right. They're saying that they were targeted because of their tattoos. Probably because you got a teardrop tattoo or an MS-13 across your neck or Tren de Aragua across your chest. Like, no, I'm not part of the Tren de Aragua. I'm not. I just got the tattoo because I like the design and the font. No, hombre, you are getting out of here. You are getting out of here. Stephanie says, that has the one guy arrested with Latinos for Trump. I give him credit. He tried to blend in. What is up, Rebecca? What is up? Rebecca says, it's a damn shame that Trump has to focus his attention on fixing Mr. Mumble's F-ups by trying to deport as many illegals as possible. They basically had an open border. It was just open. They said, not all of them were amigos, so I don't want to be profiling, but they were like, hey, come on in. We'll get you into sanctuary cities. We'll get you in nice hotels, get you hooked up. And you can do whatever. 9 years in prison, GED tutor, 5 years. Read their tattoos. It's that easy. Exactly. Jason knows what's up. You see those tattoos, you know. They got the TDS across their face. They got the teardrop. They got 3 teardrops. Crazy. AG Pam Bondi on Sunday morning with Maria states that domestic terrorism is going to come to a stop in our country. We got all these vandals destroying Teslas. This is like a continuous thing in the news here. Make sure you smash the like button if you kindly would. On Sunday, Pam Bondi with Maria regarding domestic terrorism on these Tesla situations, and then also with the Rent-a-Riots. The Supreme Court will get involved. This is out of control. This out of control judge, a federal judge, trying to control our entire foreign policy, and he can't do it. This is what Bondi declared. If you guys remember correctly, this has been all over X. It's been everywhere. People destroying Teslas. I saw a guy on X. He literally pulled down his mask and puked on a Cybertruck, but he tried to puke on a Cybertruck. What an idiot. And then he ended up puking on his hand. And then he wiped the puke on the Cybertruck. These guys are sickos. They're absolutely sick. There's something wrong with them.
Joining me now, the woman herself in the Sunday Morning Futures exclusive, Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi. AG, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Maria. Happy Sunday.
And to you. Let me start with those flights to Venezuela. What can you tell us about Judge Boasberg's ruling and whether or not the Supreme Court is going to get involved here?
Oh, the Supreme Court will get involved. This is an out-of-control judge, a federal judge trying to control our entire foreign policy, and he cannot do it. You know, he dragged us into court on a Saturday without any notice, and then he's continuing these hearings. He's trying to ask us about national security information, which he is absolutely not entitled to. We are appealing. We will be in court Monday. Again, we will win. We will prevail. There are 261 reasons why Americans are safer today, and that's because those people are now in an El Salvador prison. And we are going to follow the law, and we are going to protect Americans. You know, there's a reason why Biden's approval rating was plummeting because of the border. There's a reason why the current Democrats' approval rating is at 29%. People want to be safe. This is President Trump's agenda to keep Americans safe, Maria. It's basic public safety. Get these people out of our country as fast as we can. They're not immigrants. They're illegal aliens who are committing the most violent crimes you can imagine on Americans. Murder, rapes. You know, ask the parents of all of these young women who have been violently strangled, raped, and murdered. And we are going to continue to make America safe again because that's President Trump's agenda.
Yeah, and we're going to talk with the NYPD commissioner in a few minutes, Jessica Tisch, and I'm going to ask her about the migrant arrests being down and whether or not it's a complete, impact from the president taking these people out of the city. Does this mean, though, that we've stopped shipping people out of the country as we await for resolution here from the Judge Boasberg ruling?
Well, we're continuing with the legal process, but we're also
Get 'em
continuing
outta here.
to arrest people. We're not going to stop arresting these violent criminals. You know, the Alien Enemies Act applies today really more than ever. You know, old law is often the best law if you think about how the laws that have been on the books for a very long time. We are in modern day warfare. They have invaded our country, TDA, Tren de Agua. They are organized. They have a command structure. They are sending money to each other throughout the country and out of the country back to support their terrorist actions. It's modern day warfare, and we are going to continue to fight that and protect American citizens every single step of the way.
The last time we spoke,
Let's jump into this
the state
Tesla
governments
situation.
They're not isolated. We are a task force. These are not isolated incidents, as you know, and these aren't vandals. These are Molotov cocktails. You know, that could be a weapon of mass destruction that they're throwing in Tesla dealerships, that they're lighting these Tesla charging stations on fire that are in residential neighborhoods. I mean, it could cause tremendous damages, and people need to know the 3 people in custody right now, they will receive severe and swift consequences, and they are facing up to 20 years in prison.
Good, 20 years in prison. There was an article that I came across. This individual lit a Tesla station on fire, and then he lit himself on fire because he's an idiot. He's an absolute idiot. Jason says 20 years in federal prison. No good days. None. Day for day. Stacy says, my mom is 86. She won't leave this toilet blue sanctuary state. Terry says they need to get 20 years minimum. They do. Molotov cocktails. There were some explosives found in one of the dealerships earlier today. Crazy.
We are not negotiating these. We are not coming off these charges. We are looking at everything, especially if this is a concerted effort. This is domestic terrorism. And Maria, now you have this Congresswoman Crockett who is calling for attacks on Elon Musk on her birthday. Let's take him out on my birthday, she says. And yet she turns and says, oh, I'm not calling for violence. Well, she is an elected public official. And so she needs to tread very carefully because nothing will happen to Elon Musk, and we're going to fight to protect all of the Tesla owners throughout this country, and it's this basic safety. Once again, domestic terrorism is going to come to a stop in our country.
Well, it's
Amen to that, Pam Bondi. Jasmine Crock-a-Crap better tread lightly. She says, all I want for my birthday is Elon to go down. Come on. Tim Waltz the other day said that he just downloaded a stock app, which he doesn't even know how to use the stock app. No offense to anybody who doesn't, but he was like, I just downloaded the stock app so I can see Tesla's downfall. Coincidentally, Tesla stocks are up like 25% today because people are buying Teslas in support of Elon Musk and Donald Trump. I saw a Tesla the other day on Friday night. I was like, I'm going to get one of those. I'm going to give me I'm looking to get a Y, a Model Y. I like the Model Y. I can't, I like the X, but I don't want to spend 80 grand on a car. That's just crazy to me. Well, that's just crazy. The new Y is coming out. The new Model Y is coming out. So the 2024 version, 2023, 2022 version are basically on sale. It's crazy. I looked into a lease of one also. It's $1,500 down and $335 a month. It's great. That's like 3 cell phone bills. Well, my cell phone's like $150 or whatever. But anyways, Jason says, I'm loving it, Tyson. Thank you so much, Jason. Rebecca, thank you. Croc, oh shit, is giving all-day lunatics a free ride to make her birthday special. These guys are crazy. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if this were Republicans doing this stuff to radio stations, Soros-backed radio stations? It would be in the news all the time. Went to an elite private school, then off to $55,000 a year college, but acts like a thug. Yep, that's Jasmine Crocker Crap for you. That is Jasmine Crocker Crap for you. Shout out to Serene. Thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate you. Where's my chimes at? Here we go. Thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate you. She says, I love the shirt, Tyson. Judge Joe Brown had some choice words about Jasmine. I'll pull that up after here. Let me actually take a photo of this so I can remember. Thank you so much. This shirt is actually in the merch store. It says Trump was right about everything. You can check the merch link in the description down below. But thank you so much for the super chat. Crockett needs to be censored. So does AOC and Bernie Sanders. All those guys need to be censored. LJ says, I save big money on my cell phone bill. I just don't have one. I love it. I love it. I don't know if you guys remember, I was scouring across the intrawebs, the internet, and I came across the old Nokia phones. You guys remember the old Nokia phones? Those things did not break. Those things were bricks. They were cell phones, weapons, and a video game all in one. You could play Snake. That was the only game I think that was on that phone, Snake. I don't know if you guys remember Snake. Airdrie, what is going on, Airdrie? All right, we are jumping into the next segment. Pam Bondi, though. Shout out to Pam Bondi. IRS and ICE near agreement to share tax data. This is huge, huge. IRS and ICE near agreement to share tax data. Imagine getting audited and deported in the same week. Bonus. Oh, last month they rejected the data request, and it looks like they are coming to an agreement. This move comes as President Donald Trump pushes his administration to utilize all available resources for what he has described as the largest mass deportation in U.S. history. This is good stuff. The access is limited to immigrants with final removal orders. This breaks decades of IRS promise of tax data confidentiality. And the deal follows leadership changes at the IRS. Pretty soon, we're not going to even have the IRS. This is just my personal opinion. We're not going to have the IRS. We're going to have the External Revenue Service. Terry says, Kayla likes the Model Y, but I like the Model 3. Yeah, they're both super cool. They are both super cool. I like them. So this is huge news. Imagine you're like, hey, you're getting audited for your 2023, 2024 taxes. And, oh, by the way, you're getting deported. All options are off the table. Mike Waltz delivered a deadline to Iran to give up nukes or face fury. Before we jump into this next segment, be sure to smash the like button if you kindly would. It does help with the YouTube algorithms.
At Israel, what is the last week of bombing achieved? And if you're holding Iran responsible, what's next?
Well, we've taken out key Houthi leadership, including their head missileer. We've hit their headquarters. We've hit communications nodes, weapons factories, and even some of their over-the-water drone production facilities. Just in the last couple of days, President Trump has decided to hit the Houthis and hit them hard, as opposed to in the last administration where literally weeks or months would go by with these kind of one-off pinprick attacks. And as a result, We've had one of the world's most critical sea lanes get shut down. I mean, these guys are like Al-Qaeda or ISIS with advanced cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, and some of the most sophisticated air defenses, all provided by Iran. Just to, so everybody understands the impact here, the last time one of our destroyers went through the straits there, it was attacked 23 times. 75% of our U.S. flag shipping now has to go around the southern coast of Africa rather than going through the Suez Canal. And keeping the sea lanes open, keeping trade and commerce open is a fundamental aspect of our national security. The last administration was not effective. The Trump administration and President Trump have decided to do something much harder, much tougher, and what we'll see, but I think will be much more effective.
So the president said he's going to hold Iran responsible as well. Envoy Steve Witkoff said in an interview that Iran had responded to this U.S. outreach via multiple channels in regard to a letter sent by the president. Witkoff described it as an offer to Iran to create a verification program so nobody worries about weaponization of nuclear material. Can you clarify, is the U.S. seeking the dismantlement of Iran's nuclear program or verification like what President Obama put in place back in 2015 and President Trump pulled out of?
Full dismantlement. Okay. Iran has to give up its program in a way that the entire world can see. And this is, look, as President Trump has said, this is coming to a head. All options are on the table. And it is time for Iran to walk away completely from its desire to have a nuclear weapon. And they will not and cannot be allowed to have a nuclear weapons program.
Hard stop. That's a wrap. All options are on the table. They deliver a deadline to Iran to give up the nukes or face fury. That's just what it is. The Trump team went on this past couple days. They've just been on a great presser here. LJ says, Ron DeSantis did the same thing on smaller level in Florida. He broke down all the barriers between agencies to facilitate deportations. LV is so blue, I can't stand it. Yep. They want to protect the here in LV in Nevada. They want to protect the illegals. Mike Upton says, Cash is the man. Gotta love him. Terry writes, we will soon have the ERS instead of the IRS, the External Revenue Service instead of the Internal Revenue Service, which is much better. LJ replies, it's also a genius idea. Now I know why Trump is a billionaire. This guy, when I found out that they sold 1,000 of the Trump gold cards, if you aren't familiar with their gold Visa cards, not Visa like a credit card, but Visa American citizenship cards, they are $5 million a piece. Lutnick said last week that they have commitment and sold 1,000 of them. Imagine how many more are going to be sold over the term of this presidency. This is going to help bring down this debt and make America great. And they're trying to get rid of the penny, too. LJ asked, did you see AOC and Bernie Sanders in Las Vegas yesterday? I saw them, and I didn't personally see them. I saw them. They're doing a presser. Did you? Border wall is back and it is working. Christy Nome says 25-year low in border crossings. Law enforced, country secured. Trump's law and order legacy is back.
I want to ask you, border crossings, they're at a 25-year low.
They are. It's fantastic.
There are 6,000 U.S. military personnel working at the border now. That number could go up to 9,000 by the end of the month. How long do you have to keep them there if the numbers are already dropping like this?
You know, we'll continue the partnership with the Department of Defense, but also we've got partnerships with Commerce, with the Attorney General's office. You know, we're working every day with the Secretary of State. We'll keep them there until that border is completely secure, and we see all-time record lows of encounters. Our Border Patrol is doing fantastic work, but we're going to keep them there till the whole world gets the message that this isn't Joe Biden's world anymore. This is President Donald Trump's country where we have a border, where we have laws, and it applies equally to everybody. I think that is what is so refreshing, is that we're not picking and choosing winners and losers anymore. Americans have to live by the law. So do those who come to this country. You have to come here legally or there will be consequences.
Period. End of story. End of story. Come here legally. You know how long it takes to become a legal citizen? I shared this story before. My mom has been in the process for a very long time. And boy, oh boy, she always tells me, she always says, what if I just cross the border? Oh, I tell her you're going to get detained. That's just what's going to happen if you try to cross the border. Terry asks, how many gold cards were sold? 1,000 at $5 million a pop. The gold cards have not even been in the news. Good job for getting the scoop. Yeah. And you know what? They won't report it. This is a huge plus. Lutnick and the Trump administration sold 1,000 gold cards at $5 million a piece. That's huge. Mike Upton says, Tampon Tim wants a WWE fight. I say put up a tiny adult with a black belt. Yep. Tampon Tim versus Kane. What is up, Rob? Hope you had a great day. My mind, he says, WrestleMania in 26 days. Probably going to be streaming it. If you want to check it out, the link for the Discord group, you got to be part of the Discord group if you're interested. My Mind will be hosting it. It's a 2-day event, WrestleMania. I don't know the date. I think it's April 20th. My Mind, if you could pop the date down there, that'd be great. After losing 110,000 jobs, the Trump administration has made 10,000 in 1 month.
So if we put a 10% tariff on European cars sold into the U.S., then maybe that becomes a new equilibrium. If that is a new equilibrium, then what's going to happen is that more and more production is going to happen onshore here in the U.S., and we're going to be creating great American auto jobs. And if they lower the tariff right away, then maybe there'll be more movement back and forth, both for U.S. cars and for foreign cars. But right now, there's a very, very asymmetric trade policy around the world where everybody's putting high tariffs on our stuff if we sell it there. And we've got very low tariffs when we bring it in here. And they've got value-added taxes as well. So it's like 30% charge to sell a U.S. car in Germany, for example, right now. And just a sales tax if you sell it here, and a state sales tax at that. And so that's something that's led to this huge trade deficit. And President Trump believes, as I believe, as an economist, I think as all economists believe, that lowers the demand for labor, it lowers wages, it makes it harder for people to get good, high-paying jobs here in the U.S. And that's the thing that we're fixing. And again, looking at the jobs report that we just got this Friday, you can see that it's already working. In just 1 month alone, after losing 110,000 manufacturing jobs, we made 10,000 in February alone. 9,000 of them were auto jobs.
So just quickly before you go, I want to ask you about something Treasury Secretary Bessent said.
Can you imagine that? They cultivated 10,000 jobs in less than a month. When Trump said that the economy is going to be booming on the plane, on Air Force One, he said, the economy, you guys are going to be so rich, you're not going to know what to do with it. The economy is going to be booming. We're going to bring back American We're going to bring back America manufacturing. Hyundai just agreed to bring some stuff back into the United States. This is fantastic. United States is now going to be, and since Donald Trump has been seen as a force to be reckoned with. Rebecca says, your poor mom, I hope the process speeds up for her. Thank you so much. I'll let her know. And just so you know, she raised a great son. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'll tell her that. She loves reading the chat, by the way. She watches the show with my grandma in the evening, so she'll be happy. I actually saw her this afternoon. Trump is up $3 trillion in business investments for America. Just hit his first 60 days. Yep. Economy is going to be booming, guys. There's going to be a little bumpy bump because of the tariff situation, but nothing that we haven't handled before, especially after the past 4 years. Nothing that we can't handle. Get this. $330 million in SBA loans to children and dead people.
Add to that, and thank you. We just had a wonderful cabinet meeting, all aligned on certainly the effort to realign the government. But even at the U.S. Department of Agriculture, we've canceled a $300,000 contract educating on food justice for queer and transgender farmers in San Francisco. A similar contract we canceled in New York, again educating transgender and queer farmers on food justice and food equality. I'm not even sure what that means, but apparently the last administration wanted to put our taxpayer dollars towards that. We canceled a $600,000 contract out of Louisiana that was studying the menstrual cycles of transgender men, a $600,000 contract. We canceled another contract out of a university in the middle of the country that focused on getting more diversity, equity, and inclusion into our pest management industry. Again, these are nonsensical. It makes zero sense to use taxpayer dollars to fund these. I know these are just a few examples of the hundreds and hundreds that we...
Airdrie says, I never met a queer farmer. I haven't either. I don't know if you guys have in the chat. I haven't either. Stacy says, I'll be sending lots of prayers she can get here quicker. Thank you so much. And you know, a lot of money was magically donated to Act Blue. Yep. Act Blue and NGOs. Those hormones aren't working. DOGE found $330 million in SBA loans to children under 11 years old, the youngest being 9 months. This is bananas.
Well, a clear case of fraud was with the Small Business Administration, where they were handing out loans, $330 million worth of loans to people under the age of 11. I think the youngest, Kelly, was a 9-month-old who got a $100,000 loan. That's a very precocious baby we're talking about here.
Well, we're tackling the fraud, waste, and abuse in the agency. We've seen, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud go unprosecuted, so we're taking that on. We have a zero tolerance policy for fraud, and we continue to crack down on it and make sure people are held accountable.
It's amazing. And you have a lot of that. We found far too much of it. It's a pure fraud. We like to use the words waste and abuse because they sort of sound good, but many of these things are pure fraud. Now, there was a contract that you've heard about where Stacey Abrams got $2 billion just before we took over.
Can you imagine that? A 9-month-old got $100K in SBA loans. I know there was a lot of SBA loan fraud and PPP loan stuff going on. Stephanie openly talked about it in the chat on Friday. There were a lot of people getting these open up companies doing PPP loans, doing SBA loans. A 9-month-old got $100K. Man, I wonder what business they're running. Yep, Linda McMahon's in there. That baby's a felon. Oh, go deport. Oh, Stacy writes, probably stole mom's info. 9 months. What the heck? Yeah, Linda was sitting right next to RFK. Oh, man. Michael's throwing recipes in the chat. What's up, Terry? I had an Italian beef sandwich steamed in buttered vegetables and steak fries. Sounds delicious. Sounds delicious. Not delicious, AOC and Bernie Sanders, by the way. Angry Bernie Sanders nearly storms off. Angry Bernie Sanders nearly storms off ABC News set when asked if he'd like to see AOC join the Senate.
I helped form the Progressive Caucus. We had 5 people in it at that time. Now they got close to 100. So you got a whole lot of good people. Alexandria is extraordinary. I am so impressed by her work in Congress and she inspires young people all over the country.
Would you like to see her joining the Senate?
Right now we have, as I said, just a whole lot of people in the Congress. Okay, Jonathan, thanks.
Wait, I got one more. This is important.
No, I asked you.
Okay.
You want to do nonsense, do nonsense.
No.
I don't want to talk about inside the Beltway stuff. I got 32,000 people.
I was just asking you about AOC because she was out there with you.
No, fine, but I don't want to talk about this.
What a odd couple. AOC and Bernie Sanders are going on like a presser, doing their own little rallies. Come to find out, these rallies, they did some geo-fencing on some of the cell phones. Some of those individuals, coincidentally enough, attended Kamala Harris rallies. So I'm assuming that some of those folks, of those, quote unquote, 30,000 people that were at some of these AOC Bernie Sanders rallies are paid with hot dogs and coffee. And they're all out of hot dogs. Although Bernie Sanders shocked supporters by praising Trump's border security, Senator Bernity, might as well be Bernity. Senator Bernie Sanders has said his support Donald Trump's effort to secure the border and illegal migration.
On the planet.
More than 30,000 people showed up for their
separation of powers, making sure that
time.
Hey, guess what?
Is it different
of the Democrats who are undocumented? Well, you do that, you destroy the entire people thinks illegal immigration is appropriate. Now, I happen to think we need comprehensive immigration reform, but I don't think that it's appropriate for people to be coming across the border illegally. So we've got to work now on comprehensive immigration reform. The idea that Trump has, I don't know what his latest numbers are, he wants to deport 20 million people who are in this country who are undocumented. Well, you do that, you destroy the entire country, because I got news for you. Trump's billionaire friends are not going to pick the crops in California that feed us. They're not going to work in meat packing houses. That's what undocumented people are doing. So we need a variety of programs, guest worker programs, but mostly comprehensive immigration reform.
But illegal immigration, it exploded under Biden, and it had been high for times under Trump as well, but it exploded under Biden, and nothing was really done until his last year in office when he was...
Yep, should have done much better, no argument.
So realistically, Republicans controlled the House, they've controlled the White House, they control the Senate. So what realistically can be done?
Well, for major pieces of legislation, you still need 60 votes in the Senate. And let's be clear. I mean, we have picked many of the spots that I've gone to in Wisconsin, in Iowa, in Michigan. we chose them carefully.
Yeah.
And those are because.
You know what? When they keep bringing up this thing, like who's going to pick the crops, who's going to do all this stuff, it seems kind of hypocritical to me, you know, like not all illegals pick crops. Not all illegals clean houses and pick berries and all this other stuff. Seems kind of a little hypocritical to me. This is just my personal opinion. But there's Bernie Sanders saying, hey, Biden should have done much better. It's a weird dynamic between AOC and Bernie Sanders. Are they trying to push this ticket for 2028? It's a weird one. It's a weird one. Who's on top? Who's on the bottom? I don't know. What is up, Ricardo? Ricardo in the house. Stacey said he's losing his mind, this old Muppet that was on the balcony. Yeah, absolutely. This guy, Bernie's just trying to making sure that his slush fund doesn't dissipate. What happened here? Opposite age campaign, yeah. Looks more like peanut butter and jelly group. That's what the protest, that's what the, not the protest, the rally looks like. Those Obama hot dogs are expensive. They're definitely not the Costco ones for $1.50 in the soda pop. Trump is playing whack-a-mole with all the issues of Obama's third term. Absolutely. It's a mess. It is an absolute mess. Couple $1 trillion in total deficit. NGOs out the place. Borders open. It was an absolute mess, and I commend them for getting to work right away. Absolutely getting to work right away, handling the situations that they need to handle. It's unfortunate that some of the confirmation hearings took so long because I know they just wanted to drag those situations out. Only 1% of the agriculture is done by illegals. This is what Jack says. So he's racist. Pick food in California. You're a dope burn. Yeah, it is. Oh, who's gonna clean the houses? Who's gonna pick our berries? Who's gonna pick crops? It seems like you're stereotyping people. LJ writes, this communist owns 3 houses and is worth $10 billion and lives off of taxpayer dollars. Yes, it's hypocritical. Democrats love their slaves. Yep. They do. Bright Star, what a bucket of crap. Maybe they'll hire the homeless population to take over those jobs in exchange for food and housing. Doesn't sound like a bad idea. Because a lot of the homeless are have mental health stuff going on, and a lot of them are veterans. A lot of the veterans are on the streets. Before the Biden administration decided to house illegal immigrants in nice hotels, what about the homeless population? What about the VA? What about the people with mental health stuff? Get them off the drugs, get them clean, get them working, get them reoriented to society. Yep. Ricardo says, I heard those big rallies from AOC and Bernie Sanders are bought and paid for. All bust in. Yep, they are. Rebecca says, geez, Bernie, make up your mind and we'll respect AOC. I don't know if anybody's going to respect AOC anymore. She's a loony. I don't think she can make a decent martini when she was a bartender. Only in America. Oh, man. Shout out to the chat, by the way. You guys are awesome. Shout out to the chat. Where's my chimes? Shout out to the chat. You guys rock. And shout out to the mods. Barack Obama was using USAID to pretend to send aid overseas, but it was a laundering chain for Rent-a-Riots. We discovered that. Found that out with the BLM stuff. Baby Barack Hussein. In a podcast with Joe Rogan, unfortunately, I can't play the clip because of copyright, but the podcast was filmed several weeks ago. A clip in the discussion is making its rounds on social media during the conversation with Mike Benz and Joe Rogan. Mike Benz shared how Barack Obama was using money to USAID to pretend to send aid overseas. In actual reality, Obama was laundering taxpayer dollars, using it for rent-a-mobs instead. USAID pumped 1.2 billion in, and we're sponsored these activist groups that were civil society organizations to learn how to use Facebook, learn how to use Twitter, learn how to use hashtags, and coordinate street protests. Elon Musk said this in an X post last week. He said most of these groups are funded by these folks. Listen to this.
Yeah, I get paid to be out here.
You get paid to be out here?
Yeah.
Amazing. So some pack.
Yeah, you really are getting paid for this?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh. Definitely. 100% I'm getting paid for this. Yeah, I get paid to be out here.
You get paid to be out here?
Yeah.
Amazing. So some pack.
Yeah, you really are getting paid for this?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They're getting paid to be out there for the Tesla protests. Rent-a-Riot. They have their the head, I just imagine it, like the head of the sign creation committee comes through with a bundle of signs about Elon Musk and just places them around, just like they did with BLM. Airdrie says, I believe it. All paid for by George Soros. Exactly my mind. Terry says, not to be funny, but these recent riots make the 92 LA riots look peaceful. They do. Because these are going on days. These are days. It's like every day somebody's trying to mess with a Tesla dealership. Somebody's trying to mess with a Tesla personal property. I saw on X somebody put Toyota on the back of a Cybertruck. Liberals won't know the difference, right? Democrat billionaires outnumber Republican billionaires. Yep, they do. 2-1. Many paid for these through Act Blue. They do. Soros' influence is beyond the grave. Terry Cladwood writes, but the sheep will buy this hook, line, and sinker, like my daughter and her friends, and my 82-year-old sister. Crazy. All these folks are bought and paid for. Hot Dog Express. University of Maine agrees to ban men from women's sports to keep federal funding. If you remember correctly, there was an exchange with the Maine governor, Janet Mills, and she caved today. You remember this conversation here?
Maine here, the governor of Maine? Are you not going to comply with it? I'm complying with state and federal laws. We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding. See you in court. Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. and enjoy your life after governor, because I don't think you'll be in elected politics. Every state has a responsibility to comply with Title IX, to have an obligation, a legal.
How can you not like this guy? Good luck after being governor, right? U.S. Department of Agriculture announced the university's compliance in a press conference released earlier this week. The department continues to false claim Maine can, blah, blah, blah. Southern Warren told Campus Reform that the university will remain in compliance. So they said no more, no mas, men in women's sports. Another win. Another win. Trump says it like it is. If you don't like it, get out of here, right? Mills is a her, him. Mike Upton said, Soros is an enemy of humanity. Prosecute them. ASAP, Miss Bondi. The main problem is K through 12 is that hasn't been fixed. Only in MCS was. Penn is digging in their heels. Terry writes, we need the savage attitude in our president. Yep. Savage attitude here with John Kennedy. I like Senator John Kennedy. He calls the left loony wings. He calls them left loony wings.
Kennedy, Senator, I don't know. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking that Chuck's days may be numbered, just like Jimmy Kimmel.
Sean, I don't hate anybody. That includes Senator Schumer. He's very smart. On the other hand, Chuck's often wrong. He never makes the same mistake twice. He makes it 5 or 6 times just to be sure. But this time he got it right in supporting our efforts to keep government open. Unless a football coach taught you history, you understand that shutting government down never achieves anything. It just scares people, especially the elderly. Having said that, many Democrats are angry at Schumer. Among them right now, we've all seen the news. He's about as popular as chlamydia. But that to me says as much about the Democratic Party as it does about Senator Schumer. What it tells me is that the loon wing of the Democratic Party is firmly in control. Now that's great for the Republican Party, but it's bad for America. These people are deeply weird. For example, no honest person whose IQ is above his age doesn't believe that that biological sex doesn't exist, but they do. That's what I mean when I say they're deeply weird. Our Republican secret plan for dealing with the Democrats is called Operation Let Them Speak. But that's good for our party, but it's bad for America. And I think Schumer did the right thing.
You know, I've never been as afraid of government shutdowns because it always ends the same way. They end up opening the government, and people that do get furloughed end up getting, a paid vacation in the end, paid leave. And we never take away essential services. The military keeps defending our country. Social Security checks keep going out. Other essential services, continue. So it never quite it becomes the doom and gloom that people predict it to be. But with that said, I don't think the Democrats had much leverage here. We're still living under the Biden-Harris budget, are we not? this is still their economy, is it not?
Well, yes, but we fixed it as best we could. For example, in this particular budget, we added $6 billion for defense spending. We cut $13 billion from non-defense discretionary spending. It's a lesser amount of spending than last year or the year before, but it wasn't our budget. It was the Democrats' budget. And Schumer kept it off the Senate floor. That's the reason we were in this position. Schumer kept it off the Senate floor, so we had to do a CR. I don't mean to sound so geeky here, but that's what happened. This was all Senator Schumer's fault. But as I said, this to me says more about the Democratic Party today than it does about Senator Schumer.
Well, let me ask you, Senator. Do you think you think he is? Do you think he might be deposed? Do you think that he might be challenged? Do you think that somebody might challenge his leadership?
No. That's
Okay.
what's, you've heard me say this before. If it wasn't for double standards in Washington, there wouldn't be any standards at all. Most Democrats in the Senate supported what Schumer did, and they're scared of him. Whatever Schumer says, generally speaking, they just moo and follow him into the chute like cattle. And I don't think that'll change. I double dog dare one of them to take him on and see what happens. He'll cut him off like a dead stump.
The one thing I'll say is Democrats usually circle the wagons and Republicans create circular firing squads. This is the one time I think roles have reversed, hopefully permanently so. I think Donald Trump had a big part to play in that. Senator Kennedy, we could talk to you all night. I don't think there's any more.
Bright Star says I like his new glasses. Yeah, they're fitting. Vlad, what's up with those Sally Jesse Raphael glasses? I haven't heard Sally Jesse Raphael in a very long time. Oh, Bright Star. Like I said, he always has something funny to say. Yeah, absolutely. Terry Clatterwood. I work through shutdowns. SSA hearings continue. Terry writes, I wish I could work from home. Unfortunately, my whole resume is full of retail jobs. I like Senator Kennedy. I like him. All right, so I came across this story. There have been some whispers, and I don't know, maybe you guys in the chat can help me out. There have been some whispers about this, that it wasn't, there wasn't actual factual research on this. I just thought it was fascinating, and it's not being publicized. Ancient secret exposed, giant city lurks underneath the pyramids. I know that something came out earlier today that this was potentially debunked, but they used some like LiDAR technology to discover some underneath
Our top story today from the GatewayPundit.com. Well, it turns out that archaeologists claim that they have found a vast underground city underneath Egypt's Giza pyramids. We're talking about this story and so much more here on the Gateway Pundits Weekend Review. My name is Elijah Schaefer, and this is the Gateway Pundits Weekend Review. We cover the top 5 stories of the last 24 hours. Our top story today, archaeologists claim that they have found a vast underground city underneath Egypt's Giza pyramids. This is by Ben Q, who reports. Archaeologists believe that they have uncovered evidence of a massive underground city lying beneath Egypt's famous Giza pyramids. Researchers from Italy and Scotland used advanced radar technology to produce detailed images from deep below the surface, revealing possible hidden structures 10 times the size of the pyramids themselves. The report highlights 8 distinct vertical cylinder-shaped formations stretching over 2,100 feet beneath the pyramids, along with a series of additional unidentified structures located another 4,000 feet down under. Now, the pyramid structure discovery, here's an image created by Corey Wilkins showing just how big these structures are in comparison that have recently been discovered beneath the actual pyramids. Now, I'll show you them here in just a moment. Now, this brings up the question on how much we really know, because when we talk about pictures like this, they have these cylindrical, maybe more like braces or vertical, shafts. And what's kind of crazy about this is that the structure discovery, here's an image, click on the image for full scale. So you see really how big that is, right?
That's wild. I don't know if this is true or not. LJ says it goes 2 kilometers deep. Yeah, this pyramid story's pretty neat. I would imagine that if there is structures underneath the pyramids, just over years, sand would just continue to fill them up. I know there have been some research stating that these pyramids were like energy resources and provided some, what am I trying to say? Some renewable type energy to the city around it. Because at one point near Egypt, it was a lavish jungle-esque situation. Check out what Robert Edward Grant has to say about it. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, LJ writes, angels built the pyramids, their energy sources, among other things. Yep. Yeah, that's what I've read also. So about 1.25 miles deep. No one can dig 2 kilometers deep in that sand without modern technology. Yeah, this is wild to me. Let me look up this, what was it? Robert something? Hold on, let me pull it. If you got the link, drop the link down there. Robert Edward Grant, let's see. Yeah, this is wild. I love stories like this. Oh, these are like full on documentary kind of situations. Let's see. Huh. All right, I'm going to have to dive into this because this is neat. I think this is wild to me. LJ writes like Tesla technology. Yeah, this is wild. Rewriting history books here. So ancient technology was used to build some of these, to build these.
Compared to the pyramids. We usually compare things to the pyramids. So this kind of puts into question what we really know about our past, what we really know about Egypt, and why we've sort of been lied to for so long. Now, that being said, I want to talk to you guys about something really important. Now, everybody here knows that there is something that we have in our house every day. It is, of course, olive oil. But one of the main areas research respectively. Earlier this week, Judge Anna-Reyes, a Biden appointee.
Yeah, I'm going to have to dive into that. Let me tell you about the whole dog. Some believe the pyramid-shaped material like limestone, granite, which are good conductors, in underground tunnels and chambers have been used to channel and amplify energy. I remember sitting in history class in elementary school. I don't know about you guys, but I remember sitting in history class in elementary school and middle school. They were like, slaves built the pyramids. And I was like, no way. And they showed pictures of people with these logs, and they were rolling up this limestone, this massive limestone on these logs, humans rolling them up, and I'm like, no way, that is not possible to get that the precise cuts, the precise laying of the stone. There's no way. Anyways, I'm gonna dive into this Robert fella here. Robert Edward Grant. That's what Bright Star says. I'm gonna dive into that. Christopher Dunn, an aerospace engineer, believes that the Great Pyramids collected and stored energy through chemical reactions within the structure, generating electromagnetic waves. That's wild. Yeah. Full on cities. Full on electrical cities. Rewrites what we learned in the history books here. It's pretty fascinating. What's that one gentleman that had that Netflix series? He had a Netflix series, Graham. He talked about ancient history. I can't remember his name. He was on Joe Rogan for a little bit too. He was on Joe Rogan quite a bit. Not Stephen Graham. Something. Terry said, check out Gardens of the Gods in Colorado. One man built it without machines using ancient technology. I'll look that up after this live stream here. Taking a photo of that. I love history. Yeah, this I saw some rumors that this might be debunked, but here's the thing. Archaeologists are probably saying that they're debunking it just like they did with that gentleman, Graham. His name's right on my tongue, Graham. Graham Hancock. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Milwaukee Zeus. Appreciate it. Graham Hancock. Yeah. Ancient civilization. Thank you. All right, guys. Let me make sure I got the super chats in. Shout out to Jason for the super chat. Really appreciate you. Thank you so much for the super chat. Where's my cheers at? Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you, Serene, for the super chat. Really appreciate you. She says, I love your shirt. Judge Joe Brown had some words about Jasmine. I'm going to pull that up. That might be in the next video. Because everybody loves a good Joe Brown. I want to give a huge shout out to the moderators in the chat, and then Stephanie for saving the day today. Shout out to Stephanie for saving the day today. And the moderators in the chat, all the moderators in the chat, and then shout out to everybody in the live chat. Kudos to everybody catching us on the live. This one ran a little long today, but I'm glad that you guys rocked with me on this one. I'm going to be back tomorrow, 6 p.m. PST, and I'll confirm tonight. I'll confirm tonight and figure out what kind of morning live show we could do, because I do enjoy connecting with you guys in the chat. Hell, I run to the house just to watch you, brother. Oh, thank you so much, Ricardo. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, without you guys in the chat, you guys are the best co-hosts. You guys, this chat is the best period on YouTube. Hands down. And if you want to connect with these folks that are in the chat, these folks that are in the comment section, you can check out the Discord group. It's free. The Discord group is in the description down below. Check that out. My Mind's hosting WrestleMania. We do movie nights. We have memes and all this other stuff. And then you can connect with the like-minded individuals, share news stories and things like that. Keep up to date. Vlad says, this is good. Fun chat. Thank you so much, Vlad. I really appreciate you. Terry says, I love your show. Thank you. I really appreciate you guys. Yeah, like I said, without you guys, this wouldn't be nothing. Bright Star 33, love the chat here. Yep. Terry, I love the Discord group. LJ, I want a movie night. Yeah, we watched They Live a couple nights ago. Great movie with Patrick Kennedy. Patrick Kennedy hosted They Live, 1988 film with Rowdy Piper. Great, great film. Anyways, guys, I'm going to jump on out of here. Going to play with the pup a little bit because she is looking at me. And it's so funny. As soon as I hit this outro music, she knows that we're going to play. But drop your comments down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would on your way out. Share, subscribe. And if you're catching this on the replay, type in replay in the comment section down below. And I'll see you guys tomorrow at 6 p.m. PST. Shout out to everybody. Thank you guys so much. Chat soon.